Okay, so let's jump right in. You know how we all wear different masks, right? The one for work, the one for family, the one for friends. Well, here's the thing. In our digital lives, those masks are changing like crazy, faster than we can keep up. So today, we're going to look at some of the big tech news that just dropped. We're talking October 29th, 2025. And we're going to see it all through this idea of the roles we play and, what it all means for you and me.
So, just for a second, what mask are you wearing right now? Are you here as a student? A researcher? Maybe you're a pro trying to stay ahead of the curve. Or hey, maybe you're just killing a few minutes. It doesn't matter, because the role you're in right now changes how you hear everything I'm about to say. And that's the whole point.
All right, first step, let's talk about one of the oldest masks in the book, the creator versus the consumer. You're either making stuff or you're consuming it. For forever, that line felt super clear, right? But now, AI is just completely blowing that line up. So you've got the consumer on one side, you know the drill, passively scrolling, binge watching, just taking it all in. And then over here, you've got the creator, the one who's actively building, designing, putting stuff out there. It used to be a one-way street. A few creators broadcast it to the millions of consumers. But oh man, is that ever changing.
And this is where it gets really, really interesting. Check out this news from Adobe and Google. They are literally plugging these monster AI models directly into the tools that millions of us use every single day. We're talking about stuff like Gemini, which can write for you, Veo, which can create video from just a sentence, and Imagine, which can dream up incredible images. This isn't some nerdy niche thing anymore. This is mainstream. This is turning a simple thought into a full-blown creative project with the click of a button.
So what's the big takeaway here? These tools are completely changing the game for how we create, how we express ourselves. Yeah, it makes it easier for anyone to make cool stuff, which is awesome. But, and this is a big but, it means we have to be super intentional. Are you using the AI to bring your unique vision to life? Or is the AI just using you to spit out something kind of generic? The new challenge for all of us is to make sure we're the ones in the driver's seat.
Okay, but all this digital magic, right? These creative tools, these different masks we wear, none of it just happens. It's all running on a massive, mostly invisible engine. So let's pop the hood and take a look at what's really powering this revolution. Okay, get ready for this number. $5 trillion. Seriously, just let that sink in for a second. 5 trillion. That's the mind-boggling market value that NVIDIA is closing in on. It's a number so big it's almost meaningless, but it tells you everything about where the smart money is going.
And here's why that number is so important. NVIDIA isn't just some software company. They build the stuff, the hardware, the chips. They are the actual backbone of the entire AI revolution. So when you see that $5 trillion number, it's not just stock market hype. It's a real-world barometer for just how serious the planet is about building this AI future. Which, of course, brings us right back to our theme of masks. Once you see the machine behind the mask, this massive engine running in the background, you start to understand all the invisible forces pushing and pulling on you, shaping the choices you make every day. If you know who's building the roads, you have a much better idea of where you're heading.
Okay, so we've got creators and consumers. We've got the engine that powers everything. But what happens when all our other daily roles, the ones we think are so distinct, start to just blur together? Well, that's where things get really wild.
Let's just look at this for a sec. Take the gamer mask. You'd think Microsoft's competition is Sony or Nintendo, right? Nope. Their CEO says it's TikTok. The fight isn't for your money for a console, it's for your attention. So a gamer isn't just playing anymore. They're also a spectator, a creator, all rolled into one. Or what about the TV watcher? Now that Gemini is coming to Google TV, you're not just zoning out on the couch. You're becoming an ambient AI user, always on, always interacting. And look at business. The difference between being a service provider and a software company, that line is practically gone. The old masks, they just don't fit right anymore. And this all boils down to one really important question you've got to ask yourself, especially when you're trying to relax. With all this smart tech in our homes, our TVs, who's really serving who? Is your device serving you, or are you serving the device? Are you getting what you want out of it, or are you just feeding that giant attention machine?
Now, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds like a story about a handful of giant companies in California. But you'd be wrong. This whole evolution of our digital masks is a global story. And some of the most exciting stuff is happening in places you would absolutely not expect.
Get this, over in West Africa, the government of Burkina Faso is backing this local brand called VIM. And they're not just making knockoffs, they're designing their own tech. Durable, tough devices built to handle their specific climate. It's this incredible push for what they call digital sovereignty, and it's such a powerful reminder that innovation isn't just one thing from one place. It's local, it's creative, and it is popping up everywhere.
You know, seeing stories like that also makes you realize that progress isn't just a straight line forward. Sometimes an idea shows up before we're ready for it. Remember that whole idea of a modular phone? Like you could swap out the camera or the battery. It totally flopped a while back. But that core concept, flexibility, customization, it's coming back with a vengeance in other ways. It's like the world just had to catch up to the idea.
And honestly, that's a perfect metaphor for us personally. The old way of thinking was monolithic. One job, one skill, one rigid career path. But the future, it's all about being modular. It's about having different skills you can swap in and out, being able to play different roles, and adapting on the fly. In this new world, being rigid is a huge risk. Being modular, that's how you survive. That's resilience.
And that idea of being modular, it brings us right back home, to our jobs, our careers. This quote just nails it. The job market can look like this stable, solid thing on the surface, but we all know it. We can all feel it. Underneath, everything is shifting. This massive transformation is happening, powered by all the stuff we've been talking about. The old job titles, the old roles, they're being totally rewritten as we speak.
Look, if you take away only one thing from all of this, let it be this. Seeing all these changes, understanding how our roles are morphing, seeing the engine behind it all, that's not supposed to be scary. It's supposed to be empowering. Because when you're aware, you have freedom. You have the power to choose, the power to adapt, and the power to actually build your own place in whatever comes next.
So I'll just leave you with this one thought. The masks are definitely changing. The roles are all blurring together, and brand new ones are being invented every single day. So the only question that really matters is, what new role are you ready to step into?